Good to have Shabbos, everybody. This week's Parsha is Lech L'cha. Here we have the Bris Bein HaBesorim, the covenant between God and Avraham, in which God says to Avraham, Ani Hashem asher yitzeisicha mir Ur Kasdim. I am God who took you out of Ur Kasdim, which we know refers to when Nimrod, the king, threw Avraham into a furnace to kill him because Avraham defied the king's order of idolatry. Avraham was an iconoclast who stood against idolatry, and he preached the monotheism, the one true God. Hashem says, I took you out of Ur Kasdim. God miraculously saves him. To give you this land as your inheritance. And then Vayayma, Abraham says to Hashem, Hashem Alekim, how will I know that I will inherit it? Now, this question, all the commentaries say, what is Abraham asking? Previously, God says to Abraham that your descendants will be like as numerous as the stars in the heavens. Abraham didn't ask, how do I know? Why would all of a sudden he ask, how would I know? And then God tells him, you'll bring some animals or whatever, which many say represent the offerings. And then a deep sleep falls upon Abraham, and God says to Abraham, Yodea Teda, you should know. Ki ger yi ezaracha be'eretz lo elahem ba'avodim yinu eisam. Your descendants are going to be strangers in a foreign land, not necessarily Egypt, in a foreign land in which they will be enslaved and they will be afflicted. And I will take them out, I will judge that nation, and I will take them out with great wealth, and they will come here, they'll come back here. And God makes this covenant with Avraham. Commentaries say, if God is promising Abraham the land of Israel, why does he have to tell him about this whole experience in exile? Egypt, we're going to be afflicted, we're going to be oppressed, we're going to be enslaved, and then he's going to take us out with great plagues and signs and wonders, and we're going to leave with great wealth. What does that have to do with God's promising to Abraham the land of Israel? Some say that Abraham was wrong when he asked God, give me a sign that I'll inherit the land. God said, you want to know? Here's what you're going to know, that your descendants, because you're asking for a sign, they're going to have to endure all of this suffering. That's how some learn. But that is inconceivable. First of all, we don't see that the Torah was critical of Avraham, that when he said, how will I know? We don't see that God said to him, Avraham, what are you asking such a question? We don't see that, number one. Number two, if Avraham makes a mistake, therefore all of his descendants have to pay the price. That doesn't make sense either. Doesn't make any sense. And what kind of a measure for measure is this? Oh, because you asked, how do you know? So this you should know? It doesn't seem to, we don't understand this at all. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, the Berditchever, he says that Avraham wasn't asking for a sign to prove and corroborate God's promise for the land of Israel, but rather Avraham heard that Hashem is saying, I took you out of the furnace. I performed these miracles in order to give you this land. That means that Avraham understood that his mission, his goal, his purpose for existence is uniquely tied and bound with the land of Israel. Hashem, you took me out to give me the land, not I took you out and I want to give you the land, but as it says, I am God who took you out to give you this land as an inheritance. Hashem is saying, how will I know what exactly is my mission and tied to the land? How do I comprehend what my purpose and my mission and my goal in life is to serve you, Hashem, with this land? I understand to serve you, to recognize your presence, not to accept idolatry, even if it means I must martyr myself. What does it have to do with the land? And to that, Hashem is telling Avraham, a deep sleep is going to happen. And it says, Eima chashecha gedola nefelas olav. A very great dark dread fell upon Avraham. What are these four things? A very dark dread falls. God was showing Avraham the four exiles that his descendants would be subjected to: Babylonian, Persian, Median, Syrian, Greek, and the Roman. And the root, God tells him, no, the root of all of this is going to begin in Egypt. That's where the slavery and the suffering will begin. And this is, Avraham, your mission and the mission of your children is to sanctify God's name under any and all circumstances, not just when life is good and comfortable, to let the world know of the existence of the one true loving God and the decency and morality that he expects from us, and the kindness that we should show to each other. Not only during the good times are we to be a light unto the nations, but even during the times of exile. But know, Avraham, that there will be exiles, but I will bring my children out. I shall redeem them. I shall take them. I shall rescue them. And those who bring the suffering upon you, I will judge them harshly. And you will leave with great wealth, and you will return to this land. Meaning, there will be exiles. This land I'm giving you, Avraham, because your mission is to demonstrate that even when you are exiled from your land, no other nation. We don't find the Greeks being thrown out of Greece, the Italians being thrown out of Italy, the English being thrown out of England, the Germans thrown out of Germany. But the Jews, we're the ones, Israel, we've been the ones exiled and discarded from our homeland. And nevertheless, wherever we go, we will sanctify the name of God. We will continue to live and demonstrate a life that finds favor in the eyes of our Creator, and thereby be the example and the role model and the light unto the nations. And in merit of all this, God says, I will bring you back. You will leave with great wealth. I will see that all of your wealth that was stolen from you throughout the millennium will be returned, and you will return to this land. Indeed, we find this personified by Avram himself. Avram wasn't asking for a sign about the inheritance. He was asking Hashem, what is my mission with the land? The answer is that this is your land, and you will have to endure the suffering of exile and remain the shining light of service and love unto God. Previously in the Parsha, there was a war, and Abraham's nephew Lot was taken into captivity. And he saw that from Lot would come a Rus, and from Rus would come King David, King Solomon, and Mashiach. And it says that the Polit came, one who escaped from the war, came and tells Abraham that your nephew has been taken captive. And it says, Vayishma Avram, ki nishba ochiv. Avram heard that his brother, his kin, his nephew was taken hostage. What did Avram do? Why does the Torah tell me that? The previous verse says, Vayovay Apolit, the one who escaped, comes, Vayagid Avram. He tells Avram, what does he tell him? That Lot, your nephew, was captured, he's kidnapped, he's hostage. And the next verse, and Avram heard. Of course he heard. He was just told. The Bnei Yissaschar says, even though Avraham received this horrible, tragic news, his nephew, his only nephew, his only kin, who lived with Avraham for decades, Lot, who is going to be the ancestor of Ruth, who's going to be the ancestor, the mother of royalty, King David, King Solomon, Mashiach. And Lot is taken captive. They could destroy him. One could certainly understand if Avram would be somewhat discombobulated, upset, not able to think clearly. And the Torah says that's not the case. Vayishma Avram. He heard this horrible news. He remained calm and composed. He remained Avram. And he realized what he must do, and he went and he rescued him. This is what Hashem is saying. Avraham, your mission, the mission of your descendants, even when we receive news, which can be quite disturbing, we never forget our purpose. We never forget our mission. And that is, no matter what the circumstances, we continue to serve our Creator. We remain calm. We remain composed. We'll express ourselves with prayer, with psalms. We'll pray. But we don't go to pieces. We remain the banner for all humanity, the light unto the nations. This is the covenant between the parts that God established with Avraham. May the Almighty enable us to serve our Creator, not with difficulty and sorrows and exiles, but we know what it means to have hostages. We understand the pain and the suffering of what our people have endured. And nevertheless, we remain true and loyal and faithful unto our Creator, unto the one true God. May the Almighty enable us to continue to serve Him with joy and happiness, and to truly be a light for all of the nations. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbos.